The paper products business is undergoing a transformation. Post the pandemic, changes in consumer habits and concerns have resulted in a number of challenges for the industry. We speak to Hiroyuki Isono, President and Group CEO of Japanese paper company Oji Holdings Corp, to ask him about prospects both in Malaysia and ASEAN and how Oji is tackling the issue of sustainability. You've been invested in Malaysia for almost 10 years now, almost a decade in fact. So how do you see Oji Malaysia growing then in the coming year? Because now we're out of pandemic into endemic stage. So economy is recovering, but there's a lot of challenges. So how do you see Oji Paper growing?
We acquired this company in 2010. So then after that, almost a decade or 12 years has passed. And just here for this plant, we only had 2 paper machines and 1 converting plant. But right now we have installed 1 paper machine and the other converting plant also, which is coming right now. So when we are doing the business here, we see that the production capacity is not enough for the demand. And we see that when the economy itself is growing, the demand itself is growing. So from our business, we see how the market itself is growing. So
Oji is best known as being one of the leading paper product manufacturers in the region. Let's not just talk Malaysia as well. So how do you intend to grow your market share in the region in pertains to this new machine as well?
We do have to increase the market share, or we have to maintain as a player in the market. And one of the things is that we are making a packaging paper or the packaging products. And if the economy grows, the demand for those packaging is also growing, same as the economic growth. So that if the Malaysian economy or the ASEAN economy itself is growing, we do have to increase our capacity. And that is one of the reasons why we did invest here in Malaysia for the 3rd machine of the paper machine.
What is driving demand? Because I know that because you do all kinds of products as well. Paper packaging is, I think, during the pandemic, a lot of people ordered online that stuff requires paper packaging as well. What do you see driving demand?
If the things or the goods are moving, it has to be packed, which means they need some kind of a packaging. And those are relates to the demand for these boxes. And especially what's happening right now, it's not only in Malaysia, but also in Japan or in other countries, is that the e-commerce demand is increasing. So that if you order the products online, it has to be delivered to the customers. And if it is delivered to the customer, it is used these boxes. So those demands are increasing. Unfortunately, based on historically the paper is used for the newsprint paper or the writing and printing paper, or for the books, magazines, but those demands are decreasing, so that it is changing to the computer or some other iPads and others. So that those demands we are not chasing, and we're still producing, but we are not heavily investing in those areas. But for this packaging side, it's not only that I have mentioned that that e-commerce sector is increasing, but also there is a environmental issue, so that people are moving from the plastic bags to the wood material, which is sustainable and renewable material. So that in those areas, I think the paper packaging side is also has some kind of a benefit in the future.
Aside from e-commerce, what else do you see driving the growth of paper
packaging?
products?
It depends on how much the manufacturing companies will be investing here in Malaysia, or say in other ASEAN countries like Vietnam. If a lot of companies are moving for example, from China to here, then if the manufacturing company starts a production facility here, they need some kind of boxes to move those products, their products, to somewhere else, then the demand for these boxes will grow. So those are the areas that we are also thinking.
Let's talk about sustainability because, of course, that is a very big. Even during the launch, that was one thing that was really pointed out about sustainability, and people do talk about industries and how they might pollute and everything like that. But of course, a lot of industries are trying to clean up. So in the paper case, how is Oji Paper working on its ESG? Because I did see about the waste. The waste plant that you then use to power the paper operations as well. So what strides have you made in that?
Traditionally, not starting from here, but in Japan, our business was recycling the water. So we are recycling the water, which means that a lot of water is used to make a paper. But if you waste those papers, it is not so efficient, so that we are recycling the processed water. And the other factor that we are recycling is the material itself. The paper itself is used, but it is collected. And this GSPP has a collection system also. And we collect the paper and make it to the paper again. And those are the material side recycling system. And the other big system that we are doing is we have a lot of forests worldwide, and we are planting trees, and of course we are cutting the trees so that to make a paper. But we are also replanting, and those forest recycling or the circulation economy is what we were doing from so many years ago, and that is still the business model of what we are doing right now. So what's important is that I think the community itself have to have a mind to recycle those products. So if that is not coming to the market, we cannot collect it. So the collection system itself is very important.
So what other kind of products is Oji looking at introducing in the future as you move from this, from being very paper-based to corrugated cardboard? What's the future of packaging?
Looking into the future of the packaging, traditional this kind of paper packaging is needed, but we are thinking that we could substitute the plastic packaging into the paper-based packaging. To do that, we do have to invent the so-called plastics or the bioplastic films, which is basically made from the forest resources.
Okay, so that is what you're going to do.
That is R&D department is doing in the Tokyo Intra Laboratory.